Hey, we gonna party tonight or what?
Yeah, we are gonna party.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Would it even be me if I wasn't having technical difficulties? I finally understand that Taylor Swift problem. I'm the song. I'm the problem. It's me. Hey, Lashy Kids and Driving Mutants. We made it through another week. Welcome to Friday Chill Stream. I have a special guest with me today. He is an artist, a reviewer, an actor. There's probably some more things we'll learn about him today as well. Fro Thizzle is here.
What up, y'all? Shasha, how are you?
I'm doing all right. How you doing this week?
I'm good. I can't complain.
We were just talking about your music earlier that you've been performing a few places. You want to tell the people where you recently performed?
Yeah, I just did Yuma, Arizona a couple days ago, and that was a really nice show. Crowd had great energy. I had a great time with it. And before that, I did Denver. I did blanking off the top of my head, but a couple coming here and go.
Very, very nice. And I see on your channel you've been getting into reviewing horror movies. And I had mentioned to you earlier that this past week I saw you in a movie called Bitch Ass. And we were talking about how I think that The Blackening borrowed a lot from Bitch Ass and from Axel.
Nice. Well, that's another thing. I didn't want to be the one to say anything like that, but I had two buddies also tell me that as well. And my girlie, who I went to go see The Blackening with, she also said the same thing in some scenes. So I was like, I had a good time with The Blackening, but I could see that too as well.
But that's a good homage because there was something else I was watching earlier. It's called a Bay. Have you ever seen a Bay of Blood?
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah,
I just
absolutely.
watched that for the first time this past
Nice.
weekend, and I was looking at all the things that other movies borrowed from it, like Friday the 13th took the spear going through both people from that movie, and that movie came out in 1971.
Yeah, yeah. There's always and that's a cool thing. Like as slashers develop as the years go on, you will find little things that slashers borrow from each other, or that they like
Hmm.
little homages or little kill scenes, little callbacks and such.
Hmm. And I think Sean S. Cunningham said that he specifically did do that arrow scene in homage to a Bay.
Nice. Yeah, that was a really. I enjoy that film. Uh-oh. Are we
Not the
here? Is
internet.
everybody here?
Yeah, the internet. My internet something blanked out for a second there, but it was only momentarily.
You're good.
Hopefully.
I think if my Wi-Fi goes out here and there, let me know, or the chat, let me
Hmm.
know, or anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're used to mine doing that here because I live kind of near a nature preserve, so like our internet is not the best priority as the people that live in the towards the center of Orlando. But I was going to ask you what do you think is your earliest memory of horror?
Oh wow. Surprising, around like 5 or 6, I would say 6 or 7 years old. The Scream movies were very heavy in my household, and I actually wanted to show my physical copies of them, but my screen is a little blurry right now. But
Oh,
Scream, I have I have
oh, I
all.
can see it. I can see it when you hold it back. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I have.
Hmm.
These are the first four, I believe,
Hmm.
and then I also have 5 and 6. I'm not a big fan of 5, but I still have it in the collection just to be there. And but the Scream films were actually my introduction to horror, and I was around 6 or 7 years old.
Nice. It's a good start to start with Wes Craven.
Yeah.
Let me shout out the chat real quick. I see. Where did there's Toby Maguire. He was the first one in the door. There's
I
Toby
just saw
Maguire.
that. I just saw that. That's awesome.
Hmm. Tony Man 100 says patiently waiting to hit refresh when the stream starts, so he was here early too. Royama said, "Damn, we got Spider Man in here." And by the way, Royama is on Hood Podcast every Monday with Jay and Chris and myself. We talk about news of the weird, and I have some really weird stories to share this Monday, so that's gonna be fun.
Nice.
Continuing what we were saying about Scream, what are your thoughts on the newest Scream?
Um, like I did not love 5. I was actually really disappointed with 5. And without spoil, I don't really want to spoil anything, but
Hmm.
my favorite character, without spoiling too much, was killed in 5 in a way that I really hated.
Mm.
That I felt was really like a disservice to his character, and like I was very emotional over it, but not like emotional like good way. I was emotional like what the f, man? Like, can I cuss on
Hmm.
here?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, what the fuck, man? I was like, I was like, but without spoiling too much, I was, and even that, the movie itself, I didn't really love the new characters in 5. I didn't really migrate. I wasn't relating to them too much.
Hmm.
And then, but they did win me over a little bit in 6, the recent one.
Hmm.
Me personally, I enjoyed Scream 6 more than 5.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Like if I were going to go back and rewatch the movies, I would definitely pick to rewatch 6 before I pick to rewatch 5.
Yeah, and 6 also felt like, despite my nitpicks here and there with like the New York setting, and they were actually filmed in Canada and stuff like that,
Hmm.
the it felt bigger. Like 6 to me felt like a bigger film. It felt like the scale
Hmm.
was bigger, and it more, the kills were more brutal. I appreciated the kills more, and so, but that was just me, you know.
Oh, thanks for reminding me, Tony. Man, I'm gonna put that on the screen.
Oh, and peace
I
to
do have
everybody
that.
peace to everybody in the chat too. Tony, man, peace to Royama, if I'm saying that
Hmm.
right. And
Yep, that's right.
peace to Arkansas too. I'm actually performing in Arkansas pretty soon.
This is the original Scream mask that they produced in 2006.
Nice, that's sick. Where'd you get it from? Was it like a monster, like a convention, or?
No, I didn't get this. Actually, Tony Man 100 got this, and he
Oh,
loaned it
nice,
to me to put on my
nice,
set. So I
nice.
have to ask him, Tony Man, where did you get the Scream mask?
You don't have to say if you don't want to. You know, I know
No,
some
he'll
things are
have no problem. He'll have no problem saying
yeah,
that. Most
some
my chat is pretty. They're pretty open with each other, I mean, unless it's like something that was like traumatic.
special. Oh, yeah,
Like if there was a trauma.
or if it's special, I understand.
And we
But
were
that's
talking,
dope. That's dope.
yeah, we were talking about the blackening. Speaking of Scream, because I thought the opening to the blackening kind of reminded me of the opening to Scream. Just the way the setup with the first two characters encountering the killer and all that kind of had a Scream vibe. And there is a line lifted directly from Scream in the blackening. Somebody says, "I'm feeling a little woozy," and
Right,
I
right.
was like,
From the
"That's
first one.
definitely yeah."
From the first one, yeah.
But we were saying about that character. I don't remember the characters' names, but the nerdy one from New Hampshire. It took me a while to get used to his voice because I was like, they're
Oh,
putting 20 on 10 with the trying to have the white voice is what we're gonna call it.
Yeah,
I was like,
The Clifton voice, like I'm the,
yeah,
it was goofy, but it took me
I
a while too. But he did make me chuckle here and there as
yes,
the movie went along. Yeah.
I love the gun adjustment because that that irritates me when I see people do that when they hold it sideways. They don't know about like
Oh yeah, and
they
he lifted it
yeah
up. That was
yeah
fun.
he lifted
Yeah,
it
that
up and
was
turned
funny.
it forward like
That
you're not
was so
gonna.
yeah. That was
Mhm.
one of the bigger laughs for me too.
But I could definitely relate to his character being from New England. Being that a lot of people forget that there are black people in New England. We exist, and also I have an Android phone, so so I take a lot of ribbon from people off of that. But I still like it. Tony Man says a Halloween store or Spencer's. I forgot.
Nice. That was a nice come
Mhm.
up, man. That was dope. That's a dope come up on that one.
He says just spoil the blackening. I just see it on the bootleg. No.
It's honestly with Blackening, I felt like there's not really too much to spoil.
Mm-mm.
Like if you want the biggest spoil, I feel is that all of them pretty much live. Like
Yeah.
nobody really dies in the movie except like the main bad guy, who I don't really want to spoil because it's funny as the movie
Hmm.
happens. It won't. I feel like it won't hit as much, or it won't make you chuckle as much if you know it, like the setup to it.
Hmm.
But because it was very predictable for me who I knew was going to be the bad guy. It was predictable, but it was funny. It made
Hmm.
me chuckle. So
Especially if you watch a lot of slasher movies, you're gonna follow the beat by beat by beat and then the reveal. And it kind of reminded me of Prom Night when they reveal who the killer is in Prom Night. It was like, okay, that makes sense.
that's one I have to rewatch. I remember really enjoying the original Prom Night, but
Hmm.
I'm younger, so
Yeah.
I was young when I saw the remake in theaters, and
Hmm.
I remember everybody tearing it apart, like just like
Yeah.
massacring
Well,
the remake.
we tore it apart because like the first one was kind of it wasn't excessively gory, but it was a little bit gory. You could see it wasn't cutaways,
And
it
it
was
was R
kills.
rated.
So when
It was
yeah,
R rated.
so when they remade it, we were kind of like, well, this is kind of toothless, like why would you do that?
I'm not a fan of when they remake horror films as like PG-13 horror
Yeah.
films, or like it really. And the same goes. We're on horror, but I felt the same way with RoboCop and the
Hmm.
remake with that, because they made RoboCop is such a dope, gritty, R-rated
Yes.
graphic film, and then they remade it in some PG-13 like watered down
Hmm.
film. So I felt the same way like with that, as well as like the horror films. What they do it was like what's the point? Like I can't remember if the original One Missed Call is R-rated, but then they
Hmm.
remade that one as a PG-13 horror film, and
Yeah.
they do that quite a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. They for them they feel like they're gonna get a larger audience, but it maybe on the opening night, but I don't think it'll have staying power if you water things down too much.
I feel that it backfires too.
Hmm.
Yeah. And we're still on horror, but that just what you said reminds me of, just real quick, Stallone when he made
Hmm.
Expendables 1 and 2, they were
Hmm.
R-rated, they were bloody, and they
Yes.
were what action fans wanted. So
Hmm.
when he made number 3 PG-13, people were pissed off.
Yeah.
And the movie flopped. It didn't do as well as 1 and 2. And Stallone later admitted it. He was like, "Yeah, the PG-13 decision was a bad
Hmm.
decision." So you have it from the filmmaker.
Yeah, because the whole point of the movie was to give you that nostalgia for like when you saw like Death Wish or Invasion USA or Commando or even First Blood and Rambo. Like these are all, if I recall correctly, they're all rated R movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even though a lot of us saw them as children, it
Oh,
didn't
I'm in the
matter.
same boat. I'm
Yeah,
in the same boat.
yeah.
I was watching the craziest shit at 5 or 6 years old,
Hmm.
like 5, 6, 7, and I was introduced to Scream and Scary Movie 1 and 2 nearly not that far
Mm-hmm.
apart. And scary movies are crazy, 1 and 2. They're crazy for
Yeah,
kids, but you know.
probably the earliest I was introduced to something that I can't, like, when I think back on it, I couldn't remember the full movie until I rewatched it later. I just remember the beginning and the end with them at the hotel. But Poltergeist, I was taken to see Poltergeist at the drive-in,
That's
and here's what's
awesome.
funny: I'm the same age as the actress that played Carol Ann.
Oh, Heather O'Rourke.
So
Wow.
imagine me in footy pajamas watching this little girl in footy pajamas getting sucked into the closet. But
Damn,
to
no,
be fair, with boomer parents, I don't think they expected horror to be the way it was in the 80s. Because what they grew up on in the 60s, wasn't that scary. Well, maybe to them it was scary, but
that's graphic. Or
it
as
wasn't
like
that graphic. So like when they would take us to see movies, like, oh, my parents were like, oh, there's a remake of The Thing. That should be interesting. And it's totally different than The Thing from
yeah, it is a
what
whole
they grew up on.
I can see that. I could see that
Mhm.
for sure. Maybe because I feel like they were definitely like the graphic films started happening around like I would say late 60s, maybe like
Mhm.
around mid 60s, late 60s, like with my guy George A. Romero, Night of the Living Dead.
Mhm.
That's when it changed the game because we never saw flesh eating zombies before.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
when we see people getting eaten and shit, I'm sure people in '68 were like, "What the?" Like they
Yeah.
were losing their mind. And then, of course, when Exorcist came out in 72, 73, around there,
Mhm. He was
people lost
73. Yep.
their
Yeah.
fucking mind. Yeah, there's
Yeah, because nobody had seen anything like that before.
like
Even
so
like when you
graphic.
mentioned zombies, I watched I think it was a movie called I Walked with a Zombie or White Zombie. I know it's from the 1940s and there's two movies by that name. And the zombies, they, came and they were stoic and walking like, zombies do, but they didn't eat people yet.
Yeah, they were like,
So yeah. Yeah.
oh, they weren't. And if they killed you, it was off screen, or they would just kill
Mhm.
you with like a hammer or like something like that. But yeah, it was. And as much as I love White Zombie, I cherish that film with Bela Lugosi.
Mhm.
Uh, I Romero's my guy because I felt he changed the game.
Yes.
And even
He
Night of
did.
the Living, as much as I appreciate Exorcist, Night of the Living Dead came before Exorcist, so
Mhm.
I felt
Mhm.
that just had a quite a bigger impact on my personal opinion, of course.
And I think he's had the strongest sequels. Like when you watch Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, I think they hold up incredibly well.
Me personally, Day of the
Mhm.
Dead is my favorite film of all time. I'm not
Oh,
exaggerating.
I can see why. I love the opening of Day of the Dead with the apartment building and how they had that one rogue cop that he didn't care whether people were zombies or not. He was just knocking off people because he was sick in the head like that. But like I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where if it was released today, you'd have a certain group of people online. It's too woke. It's like they think
That
that's a new thing. It's not at all.
the one you're talking about is Dawn,
Oh,
but
Dawn, sorry.
no, I didn't, not to correct you at all, not to be a dick or anything, but
No,
just
no,
to
no. I do that all the time. I mix things up. But
so I
yeah.
have Day as my favorite film of all time, and
Mhm.
literally Dawn is not far. It's like probably my
Mhm.
third favorite film of all time. So I
Mhm.
cherish Day and Dawn nearly equally. They're literally
That's right. Because at the top of you have Bud or Bub. It's Bub, right? On the
that's
top of
my guy.
your banner on your channel is Bub from Day of the Dead.
That's
Yeah,
my
I
guy.
remember
Yeah.
noticing it.
Bub is my favorite zombie of all time.
Nice. You have a question in the chat. Tony Man says, question for Fro. Was everyone professional on the set of Bitch Ass? Do you still keep in contact with them?
Yeah, man. Everybody, it was literally smooth sailings, dude. It was like I'm gonna say probably a 2 week shoot, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, like about 12 days or so, and everybody was cool. It was
Mhm.
crazy though because we were shooting in the middle of CVID, all that the
Yeah.
epidemic. They were heavily masked up. They made us take tests every single day. So I'm on edge every day, like, oh, I don't want to be the guy to shut this fucking production down, like I'm a
Mhm.
little on edge. But nobody got sick, everybody was cool. The process was fun. All that I'm still in touch with the guys, like Kelsey, the guy who played the main guy, T. I believe that's his name, T, in the movie. I'm real
Mhm.
cool with him. Kelsey Caesar, that's my guy. Bella, I'm really cool with. Like the people I robbed the house with, and pretty much. Like
Mhm.
I'm really cool with them. And the killer bitch ass, we're really tight too. That's I want
Nice.
to shout. I'm blanking out on his name right now because he's real cool African homie, but Tundi, yeah, we keep in touch.
Now, you could tell when people are having fun making a movie versus when they're really like put upon or miserable, and it looked like you guys were having fun making that movie.
Yeah, and me just I put every ounce of my nerdy horror self into that situation. And the one thing I'm really proud of, that I'm really happy that I'm even in the movie or I'm involved with it, is that one of my favorite guys that you have in your intro, Shasha, is Clarence Williams III. Clarence Williams III.
Yes.
Now,
from Tales from the Hood.
As much as I love Tony Todd, who's in the film Bitch Ass, as much as I cherish the guy, like he's one of my favorite actors of all time, Clarence Williams III was the original choice for Tony Todd's role.
I didn't know that.
Clarence is like, he was high on my bucket list of guys I wanted to meet. Like I wanted to at least meet him, put him in a video or something, or just interview him, like pick his brain, anything, you know, like, and before he passed away, before any final talks or any talks. So that, like, I'm like, damn, like I would have been in a movie with Clarence Williams III. So
wow.
So, and that's just a personal fro nerdy thing. That's how much I love the guy, you know. And I love Tony Todd, so I'm like, damn, I'm still in the movie with Tony Todd. That's fucking awesome.
Yes.
It works out well. So
Reverend Starborn is here. Hey, what's up, Reverend Starborn? How have you been? I was gonna ask you, I thought I saw it was either on your Instagram or maybe it might have been on your TikTok. Are you going to be in another movie? I thought I saw like maybe a poster or an advertisement for it.
Yeah, I want to shout out my guy Ryan. He's getting the funding together for it. I think he has about another 28 days or so for the goal. But he's independently financing it, and it's a horror film in the woods. So it's another woods horror film, but I believe it's a creature film. And I'm actually a pretty decent sized role in here. This is one of my bigger roles that I've taken so far, and it's mostly fun. It's definitely like a fun project, definitely a film production, but you know, it's I'm like the second or third guy, I believe. So I have a decent amount of dialogue. I'm a little excited because I'm a little out of my comfort zone with that, because I'm like, if you make me like the fourth or fifth guy, I'm comfortable, because I have maybe like 20 lines out of the whole movie, maybe 30. Like a main speaking role probably has like 200, 300, 400 lines or so, maybe more. So I'm like, if you give me like a good 20, 25, I'm happy. But this one, I have way more dialogue. So I'm like, oh, I'm trying to really sharpen the sword, or just study, you know, get in my studying acting zone, you know.
Nice. How long have you been acting?
Man, since officially, I would say since 2015.
That's a long time. And how long have you been doing music?
Oh man, I'm 25 now. I've been writing since 7th or 6th grade, but I would say officially music around late 2014.
I'm surprised you're only 25. I don't mean only as in like a pejorative, but your knowledge of horror movie and horror movie history really precedes you. Like, you know about. I was surprised you knew about White Zombie. I'm surprised I knew about White Zombie.
Yeah, and I get it quite a lot. They say I'm quite an old soul, but I just love it though. Like for me, it was always music and hip hop. Excuse me, it was music and movies, and they were always literally like right there for me ever since I was young, like 5, 6, 7 years old. So I feel like I just got bit by the nerdy bug really early as a kid.
Well, music and horror go together so well. Like when I think about it, and I think about how impressive certain horror scores are. Do you have any favorite horror scores?
Oh, absolutely. Jerry Goldsmith, The Omen, I think is a fantastic score. The Shining is The Shining. I'm a fan of the film, but I feel the score is pretty underrated, because the score is what makes the film make you on edge. It's like, whoa, that's a really uncomfortable score, and the strings they're using and the creepy ass sounds. Like, I think The Shining is one of the best horror film scores ever. And The Thing, Ennio Morricone, The Thing, definitely. And I know I'm naming some of the more popular ones, but those are the ones that definitely stand out to me for sure. And I think an underrated score is Christopher Young's Sinister, the Ethan Hawke. the Ethan Hawke film.
Hmm.
I like the film. I think it's cool, but the score to me is like fantastic.
Hmm.
I really I think that's an underrated one.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the score for Hellraiser, the original Hellraiser. It doesn't come up, or at least from what I've seen, it doesn't get mentioned as much as like the score from The Exorcist or from The Omen. But I feel like it's to me, it's very, very effective. That and the score for Alien. I feel like Alien would be a totally different movie without that score. Like it
I agree.
really sells
I
everything that's going on.
absolutely I
Um,
100% agree.
Mr. Dan and Horrors here. He says hello, everyone. Also, by the way, a lot of people in our chat have channels. Mr. Dan was recently doing a review with his son, which I like because I like to hear from different viewpoints.
Nice.
You have another question in here. Tonyman says, "Does Fro prefer old school or newer mumble stuff? I still love the old school and the stories they wove. Has he heard of Gravediggers?"
Of course, man. Yeah. So Tony, I don't know if I could send you a link somehow, but I'm gonna send you a link of I have a main Afro channel and I have a Fro Thizzle reviews channel. My
Hmm.
main Afro channel is on music orientated, and I have a video where I explain my favorite influences of who influenced me.
Hmm.
So to just run it by Tony, just to give you an example of what type of hip hop I'm into. Pharoah Monch, Jizza, Rakim, Cool G Rap, Big Daddy Kane, KRS-One, Ghostface Killer, Wu-Tang Guys, Guru from Gangstar, Sean Price, um, Gravediggers, of course, RZA, Prince Paul. I'm actually really cool with Prince Paul. We've worked on music together.
Oh,
So I
that's
want to
really cool.
shout out Prince Paul, the OG. Um, but yeah, I've ran into RZA once or twice. It was just like a cool passing by, but not on no diva shit, just to show you like what type of
Hmm.
where my influences come from, And Killer Priest, so many, dude. There's so many I could list, but those are my guys. So I'm definitely old school. I'm not a big fan of the new school stuff. That's me personally. If people are into that stuff, I don't, they can listen to what they
Hmm.
want to listen to. But I'm definitely more lyrics, beats, boom bap. That's my heart for sure.
Hmm.
And there's exceptions. There's some newer stuff here and there that's pretty cool and dope, but it's not on a scale as dope as the old school was, where there were literally like 20 dope hip hop artists at the
Hmm.
same time. Now in the new school, you'll probably find a good 5 at a time, or maybe a good 4 at a time. Old school, you had guys like Wu Tang and like
Hmm.
Nas and Big L and all these guys coming out not that far apart. So it's literally, that's my heart.
And we used to have crews. There used to be whole crews of people that was like this is more recent. I can't really name the ones from the 80s, but in the 90s they had like Dipset and Mob Deep and of course Wu-Tang, and there was these different crews. What's the one? There was one Lil Wayne was in one. What were they
The
called?
the boys,
Hot
the
Boys? Was it Hot
Hot
Boys?
Boys, Hot
Yeah,
Boys.
there was crews. Um, I'll find the video that you're talking about and I'll share it on my community thread. Um,
Thank you. Yeah,
no
mainly for Tony or anybody that's like wants to look into more old school hip hop, or if they're interested into it or such.
Shout out to Marty. Marty just woke up. He's watching from Ireland.
Nice. Peace to Ireland. What part of Ireland are you in, brother? I've been to Dublin, and Dublin's all well, my personal experience, I had a great time in Dublin. They treated me nice. So
Yeah, that's what I hear too. Ultimate Sunrise. Hey guys, I hear people when they go to Dublin, they have a good time. Also in Germany. Tony says
Love Germany.
The Juice Crew and Symphony, one of the best posse cuts ever.
That's I 1000% agree. 1000%. That's like, to me, that's undebatable. That's literally the mecca of posse cuts,
Mm-hmm.
for me.
Even duos, like there was like Salt and Pepper, Kid and Play, and the last duo I saw, I can't remember their names. They had one song and they performed it on, I think, the MTV Music Video Awards, and now I can't remember their name or their song. It was like from 2 years ago. They were fairly young too, like in their early 20s, but I hadn't heard of them. But that doesn't mean they're not doing things, because a lot of times things don't get advertised, especially musically in the US, the way it gets advertised overseas. So
Yeah.
like when I speak to people that are in the UK, or I speak to people even farther east, like Australia or South Korea or something, they're like, oh, didn't you hear about such and such has this new album? And it'll be an American artist. And it's like, we didn't know about it. It's not even being advertised here, but over there, they know about it.
Yeah, man. And promotion, and of course,
Mm-hmm.
promotion and algorithms and marketing are way different now than they used to be 5, 4, 3 years ago. Like
Yeah.
now it's all over the place. The algorithms and such, and how they reach how they reach your wave, or how
Mm-hmm. Do you see it, the musical style changing? Like the way I was talking to somebody about the cycles of rock and roll and how to me being older, I'm seeing it repeating in hip hop. Like you had rock and roll being party music, then it became very like political in the '60s, and then it kind of bounced back to party music again in the '80s with being very glam rock and hair metal. Then it went a little bit more deeper again with grunge. And it's like I'm seeing that with hip hop starting as a party music, and then late '80s, early '90s, it gets more political with like Public Enemy. And then Diddy comes in and it's the shiny suits and it's party music again. Like the Diddy era up to now is kind of like the same as hair metal. So if this is the hair metal stage of rock and roll, then the next one, logically would be the grunge stage where people are talking about real stuff again. I don't know. What do you think of that hypothesis? That's just
dope.
my
No, that's dope.
hypothesis.
That's dope. That's dope. I definitely would say there's definitely an evolution going on, for better and for worse. So I would say, let's say in the '70s, it was a little more fun. It was an MC. He would grab the mic. It would be house parties, like house parties, a DJ turntable, a mic, cheap speaker, but people having a bunch of fun. And then it started turning into, I would 1,000% agree. We had the Public Enemies. And even when it started getting to '88 or '87, we had like a Boogie Down Productions. They started talking more serious subject matter. And definitely, and when we get to around '93, '94, I would say that's the more street, more hustler, more grimy, New York streets, Nas, Cool G rap. Like Cool G rap started in late '80s, or around there, but he also had like an evolution where he started talking more grimier stuff, and went on to influence pretty much everybody lyrically, or nearly everybody. But the evolution as far, and then we went to the streets and the grimy around '90s to mid '90s. But it was a mix between the political guys and also the grimy guys. And then the shiny suit era.
Yeah.
Definitely the shiny suit era. And then from there, we went on to the crunk era. So we had like the South taking over for one time, for a good chunk of time, like probably a good couple years. And then that's when I guess I would say from the crunk, I would say we probably moved more towards the new generation, where I would say the trap or more the modern beats started popping off. And then there was like, I feel 2 different stages in that alone.
Yeah.
At first they had like, as goofy as it sounds, and I'm not a big fan, but he's a goofball. The Soulja Boy stuff.
Yeah.
I felt like maybe that was kind of near the start of all the, let's say, the more modern kind of sound. And then they went to the, let's say, the Migos, and then towards that era. And then now we're in the era now of like the, I don't know, the Ice Spices and stuff.
Yeah.
Those,
I don't know what you would call this era. I would call it, well,
I wouldn't
in a
call it
way,
hip hop. Like me and Pin,
no.
I wouldn't put that in hip hop, but that's where it's definitely like this weird evolution. That's just
In a way, the
timeline.
current way that they're marketing, especially female hip hop artists, is kind of reminiscent of the 1950s, where they didn't really market people as album artists. They just marketed them as singles artists. And that's kind of, it seems like that's what they're doing as of late. But I think pretty soon, especially with people from your generation, I think you're going to bring in more of the album sound again. At least that's what I'm seeing on TikTok. When I'm seeing the people performing on TikTok and they're playing their instruments and they're writing music, like there's a whole artistic community over there that is just ready for the world to see how good it is. Like from what I'm seeing.
Yeah,
and they're more lyrical, thoughtful, just amazing.
And I'm definitely, I want to see more of that as well. I want to see more like creativity, or more, I want to see definitely more art instead of what I would consider like brainless stuff. Like the stuff now with the rap that's going on now, to me, in my opinion, it just feels a bit tasteless, or like quick junk food, or how, and the quality to me isn't really there,
And
so I
it's
definitely,
a little bit like they're just trying to reuse the same tropes over and over again. I'm calling it a trope like it's a movie, but it is like the same trope. Like, I'm gonna do a back in my day old ladyism, but back in the day, yes, we had Trina and we had Little Kim, and they were being sexy. But we also had Missy Elliott and we had Queen Latifah and we had people doing different things. Now it seems like that's the only female archetype of rapper that's allowed to
Exactly.
exist is just the Little Kim granddaughters. Like
Exactly.
it's
Exactly. And yeah, and Tony, you can say Beastie Boys were the first gangster rappers. I'm not going to argue that, but I would say G Rap brought it more gutter, man. Like Beastie Boys, as much as I enjoy them, they were still fun to listen to.
oh, I
Like
think I think what he means is the first rap song that was actually had violent lyrical content, even
yeah,
though it still was a joke. Like
I
Paul
would agree.
Revere,
I would agree.
Paul Revere is
I
like
would
before. Yeah, before Paul Revere came out, like when that came out, everybody was like, they said what?
right,
And he
yeah,
got guns? What is this? Like, because like it's the year that it came out, I think that shocked everyone. But because it was more of a joke album, nobody took it seriously. Then when people were rapping about stuff that they really experienced, that's when it really became gangster rap. I would
yeah,
call that one the proto gangster rap. It was the proto gangster rap.
yeah.
There was a
And that's
couple.
not and that's not the knock Beastie Boys at all. You know, like
Mhm.
I really appreciate those guys, but yeah, definitely like G Rap was like my introduction to that. And oh man, that gutter grimy shit, you know, like, but
Oh,
but yeah,
he says, Lady Shasha, my verse from Funky for You by Nice and Smooth never showed up. I'm hurt. I don't know whether I'd be able to even write. He usually at the beginning of my live streams, he'll write rap lyrics that he wants me to rap, and it's always like harder, harder. If it was more simple bars, maybe I can execute them, but I'm not a rapper, so let me put up the next
and
one.
I agree with that. Like Tony, definitely, like he went from like an Ill Street Blues, which was still pretty gutter, but that's what I tried to say earlier was that when you got to like 95, 94, G Rap, when he put out 456, that was super, that was gutter to a whole new level. That was like we saw
Mm-hmm.
G Rap literally talk like not only cussing more, but just going into way more graphic imagery. Like when you listen to 456, it's not the most graphic album you ever heard, not even close. But the
Mm-hmm.
lyrics are pretty hardcore. Like the lyrics are pretty like super gutter on like a pretty high level, you know. And I love that album. 456 is one of my favorite albums of all time. That's like some of the craziest beats I've ever heard, like on like a nasty, grimy
Mm-hmm.
type of style. Now, like
And
the Do the Right Thing by Redhead Kingpin plays at the end of People Under the Stairs. Yep, yep.
Ultimate Sunrise says mumble rap needs to go. I think mumble rap did do one positive thing because a lot of people couldn't understand what they were saying anyways. I think it opened the door for people to listen to more international music, where you start to see more of a rise of Latin music, more of a rise of K-pop. Because if you learn that the lyrics are not that, or you think that the lyrics are not that important, and you start listening to just the melodies and the music, you're like, oh, this is pretty good. Along those same lines, you were talking about how influential Nas is, and I read not too long ago, maybe a few months ago, that of the group BTS, the rap member RM notes Nas as his number one influence.
Oh wow, that's dope.
That's
I didn't
all the
even
way
know
in
that.
South Korea.
You put me on, yeah, you put me on something new with that one. That's dope.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
I always
then
like hearing that. I always like hearing that because you know that guy could have said, I don't know, not to knock anybody, but a newer guy, let's say he could have said a mumble
yeah.
rapper as an influence
Hmm.
or something like that. But for him to say Nas and his age, that's awesome. Like
Hmm.
I love hearing stuff like that.
And then he and a couple other group members had come to America to study under oh god, was it okay, I'm gonna get this messed up. Somebody correct me. It's either Warren G or Nate Dogg, the one that was the rapper, not the one that was the singer. They came over here and went to LA and studied underneath him.
Nate's the singer, Warren's the rapper.
Warren G. So it's Warren G that a few members of BTS had come to the US and studied, and that, I had never heard of that because any other music that's acceptable. Like if you're a guitarist, it's acceptable you go study underneath another guitarist. So you're a saxophonist, but in hip hop, that was the first time I heard of someone who wanted to do rap and went and sought out someone that's awesome at rap and studied underneath them.
I actually encourage that.
Hmm.
That's one of the bigger things about me personally is that out of my personality or just in my career, like hip hop wise, I encourage, me being young, I even encourage that 17, 18-year-olds that hit me up asking who to listen to. I bring them right to the guys I love. Like I tell them, I studied all my favorite guys. When I was 12, 13, I was studying G-Rap. I was studying Pharaoh, Rakim. I studied, those were my guys, and those were like my guides, like guide to I just studied the technicality of them and such, and then the flows and even subject matter. But that's something I definitely encourage. Like more younger rappers or younger kids that want to rap, I encourage them to go seek out the greats before you. Like the greats definitely, and you'll be surprised at the gold that you find.
Mm-hmm. Tony Man says, I asked the young cat who loves mumble rap if he heard the new song by Lil Tay, and his response was, who the fuck is Lil Tay? I don't know who Lil Tay is either. But I have the excuse of being old. Wait, did I? Yeah. I'm sorry, my computer is being slow when I'm trying to click on these. I think it's because I need to free up some memory on it. When you edit, even though I keep most of my stuff on a portable hard drive, I still end up having too many files on a computer. We need to bring back more lyricists.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
I always love "Do the Right Thing" by Redhead Kingpin plays at the end of it. Oh, you read that one already. But yeah. That's another underrated movie. The People on the Stairs. I think it was maybe too early for its time. Like, I think people back then, and also I think maybe people wanted to be more scared than what the movie was, because at that time Wes Craven was mostly known for Nightmare on Elm Street, so people went there expecting to be as afraid as they were watching Freddy Krueger, and it wasn't as scary. Yes. Yeah, my glove right here. I got several T-shirts with Freddy on it, and his sweater. The only thing I don't have is his hat yet. Nas is a storyteller.
Yeah, no, I believe storytelling is an art form that should be definitely like it's there. Like the art of storytelling isn't gone, but I feel like it should be more of it. And I love Nas, and I agree 1000%. He is a storyteller. My personal favorite storyteller is Slick Rick, and just because I think Slick Rick is in another world. And Ghostface Killer, I think, is an incredible storyteller.
Oh yeah,
he's in another world with that. So, and yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, Warren G.
R.I.P. Nate.
I
love that Tony's testing my hip hop IQ.
and you can say you're being tested by the real OG. He just turned 50 this year.
Oh, okay. Well, no doubt. Peace, OG. Live from the barbecue. And I'm actually really cool with Joe Fatal. I've worked with Large Professor once. Really awesome guy. Joe Fatal is a really cool guy. He's a crazy guy, but I love him. And yeah, man, live from the barbecue, man.
Okay, and Chainsaw is here. I don't know if you've seen. Have you ever seen the movie Summer School?
Yeah, yep.
I'm trying to put it on the screen, but this is not. No, it should be going. I don't know why it's not displaying.
Greetings, Francis. Chainsaw, nice.
Yes. All right. So you know what? Before I forget, let me show everybody your channel. I'm gonna also type it in here.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's never a problem. I'm thanking you for coming through.
Oh no, it's awesome. I love talking like this. Like I only get to really talk. Like I'm a nerd. Like I say that a million times, but I am. So I don't get to really nerd out as much as I could. Like I only have like a close 4 or 5 people, that I can really like talk like this. Because I talk to my mom's about movies, she gets tired of me after like 4 minutes. She's like, "All right, that's enough."
I'm like that too. I could talk about movies for like hours and hours and talk your ear off about movies. Oh, speaking of that, do you have any movies that you're looking forward to?
Oh, that's a great question. Horror-wise, not too many, but there is one that kind of looks interesting. It could be whack or great. And there's a new one coming out called Talk to Me with the possessed hand.
Yeah, with the hand. Yeah, that one looks good.
I'm gonna check it out. I'll check it out, and I just like how the cinematography looks. I like how it looks a little unsettling. So it reminds me of Idle Hands, the goofy art film in I think '99. But it looks like a way more serious take on it. Yeah, but I'm gonna check that one out. It's an action one, but my goat is Denzel, so Equalizer 3.
Mhm.
But I know that's not horror, but that's definitely like that's my movie that I'm looking for the most out of the year. Just because Denzel's my goat. Denzel can be
Mhm.
in like a mediocre or okay film, and I'm still gonna watch it just because he's Denzel.
Mhm. Did you get to see the newest John Wick?
Yeah, I saw 4. Yeah,
Yes, I love that. Speaking of action movies, the
and
last.
yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
without spoiling too much, I know that like the ending. I knew they weren't gonna be that ballsy because
Mhm.
there's already a 5 in development, and I called it. I
Yeah.
was like,
Mhm.
nah, I was like this without spoiling it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I was just like, yeah,
Mhm.
of course they're gonna make a 5.
Mhm.
I
And he's
enjoyed
pretty
4
much a
though.
superhero. Like when
Yeah,
he fell out, I'm gonna spoil one thing because y'all had
the
like
bill.
5, 6 months to watch this movie. Okay. When he fell out the window and it was like the fifth story and he just got back up, like he's a superhero now.
Yeah,
Just accept it.
exactly. Like
Him
the
and the
sense,
people in the Fast and Furious, they're superheroes.
like that sense of realism or belief is just gone. It's out the
Mm-hmm.
window. Yeah. Oh, literally out the window. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw the comments. Tony, love you too, bro. Thank you, man. Like I really appreciate it, man. And yeah, and if you ever want to talk hip hop or anything, bro, hit me up. Like I love talking that stuff too, man. So yeah.
Still waiting for Late Night with the Devil. I heard so much about it.
Francis, thank you, bro. Late night with the devil. What's
Yeah,
that
what
one?
is
Yeah,
what is Late Night with the Devil?
no, what's that one about? Yeah, let us know, Tony. What's that one about? Oh, I check this out,
Or
Francis.
are you thinking of The Devil Comes at Night? Because there's a movie called The Devil Comes at Night that's coming out soon.
Francis, you can't really tell. Hold on, you can't really tell, but this is a fallen poster.
Oh wow.
I just got it a few days ago. You can't
That
really
looks like
tell,
the
but
one sheets that come from the movie theater. It's a
John Goodman and Denzel. Yep.
hmm
Yeah. Fallen is one I love. Fallen. Fallen's awesome. That's crazy. I just got the poster like 2 days ago.
mm. Nice, nice, nice.
I love that scene, yo. I'm wigging out right now. But Francis, that's like, dude, I have that scene ingrained in my head as a kid when he's the convict and he's like walking down the aisle with the chains and he's singing that time is on my side. That scene is crazy, yo. Like that scene, it's a simple scene, but that scene has always been stuck in my head. That's crazy you brought that up. I love Fallen. Underrated. I think it's an underrated movie.
I'm gonna I'm gonna start begging people for money to get a new computer. That's what I'm gonna start doing. This is holding me up. It won't allow me to be great because it's slow.
So,
But I'm gonna put your channel up here on the side as we continue talking so people can see.
thank you guys.
This is
Thank
one
you,
of
Josh.
the screenshots I took, and the last video of yours that you just recently posted about your vinyl collection, which is really cool because vinyls are not super easy to come by. I mean, they
Yeah,
have a few at Target, but it's not like a big selection.
yeah, and
Do you
I
go to
used
record stores or do you order them online, or how do you mostly get your records?
I mostly go digging. So
Hmm.
I've been collecting for I've been a collector for quite a couple years now, but my vinyl collection is literally all over the place right now. But I got this is just a new this is the box itself that I got a couple days ago. So I literally got a whole box that
Let me
I'm
see
gonna
if I
do a
can.
part I'm gonna do a part 2 pretty soon. But it's literally
That's not what I was trying to do.
all these damn vinyls if you can see. It's
How do
like
I
I got the
switch
whole
this?
stack, but
I guess I
yeah.
got it. Yeah, there we go.
Like a whole stack of these fucking things. And they range from everything from like Tony. So I got a AZ, give me yours. I got the single. So
Wow.
I got some AZ here. My genres go from everywhere, like music for relaxation. So I'm weird with my music choices, but they sound cool on the vinyl. You know that
Mm-hmm.
vinyl is a very satisfying sound when you put the needle on and you just hear the crackle and you can just sit back and the cool thing about vinyl is they're not always so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to thrift stores or you can go to like some pretty cool stores that are like $2 a vinyl or $1 a
Mm-hmm.
vinyl, or you can get like 5 for $5 or something, or even less than that, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
it just depends where you go digging, you know. But if you go as much as I love Amoeba, Amoeba is a little bit more expensive, so I can see people, being a little thrown off by that. But
Hmm.
Amoeba is mainly like a Cali thing. Um, but yeah, I just got a bunch of shit. I'm sorry if I have a lot of brain scatter right now. But
No. My viewers know this already, but I have ADHD pretty bad, so they're used to it with me. That's why I say sometimes I get things mixed up, so I don't get upset if somebody corrects me because I know I probably mixed it up.
I got Jay Dilla right
Jay
here.
Dilla. Hmm.
Jay Dilla. And this was a guy, as goofy as he is, I'm a personal big fan of him, just ever since I was a kid. But Luda, Ludacris.
You guys think Luda is goofy? He
He
used to be the man when I was young. Like
he he has
I didn't know he was considered goofy.
a goofy personality, like especially in his early years, like Southern Hospitality, Get Back, like
Hmm.
the video for Get Back. He has like the big blowed up, like the
Yeah,
muscles and stuff.
I love
He
that.
was a funny guy, but I love Luda. I think Luda's an underrated MC. Like
Hmm.
as much as he has a personality, I do think when Luda's like at his best, that he's pretty damn great. Like, he's one of the greats.
Hmm.
Would I put him with a Cool G Rap? Of course not. But I do have Luda somewhere in like my top 30, top 35. He's there. Like me personally, I'm a big fan of Luda. So his first 4 or 5 albums, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, Tony Man says late night is about a talk show with the devil as a guest. Oh, I hadn't heard about that.
Oh shit.
And Francis is underrated indeed. Tony says about to head out. I'm on 5G. Keep this going. So
My
that means
brother.
he's gonna switch to just listening. No way. I'm on with the Mistress of the Snark. Oh, that's so nice of you. Yes, that's one of my nicknames. Mistress of the Snark, Connoisseur of the Gore, and Blood Goldilocks. Somebody else gave me the nickname because I was complaining about how in some movies the blood is not thick enough or not dark enough or it's too bright. And they say, oh, you're like the Blood Goldilocks. So
Nice.
that's how I got
So
that one.
you can tell when like blood is either red paint or when it's corn syrup
Mhm.
or when it's like or when it's like digital or
Yes. The only
digital.
movie I've ever seen. Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. No, you go ahead. My bad.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The only movie I've seen where the digital blood worked well was Train to Busan.
Oh, I
They
love
really they hit it really well.
Train to Busan. Train to Busan's the shit. Yeah, and me personally, I hate digital blood. I'm always physical. I need my physical effects.
Hmm.
The when I think of practical effects like The Thing, like Carpenter's The
Hmm.
Thing, that's literally ahead of its time. It's fucking amazing effects. I gush over those effects all the time, but
Hmm.
that beats digital blood any day, any
Yes.
fucking day. And it just that digital blood does not give you that same ooh effect, like ooh,
Hmm.
like practical effects. They make you like that's what they're designed for, to make you wince.
Yes. Even when they're bad, they're still, because they're more organic, there's more of a reaction to it. Like when I say bad, like stuff like Basket Case, where, yeah, I can tell it's a puppet, but I still love it.
Still fun. I'm actually really that's one of my guys, Frank Henenlotter. I'm actually really
Hmm.
cool with him. Yeah, that's my
Oh,
dude.
really?
Yeah,
Oh
that's my
my
guy.
God, that is so awesome.
Little nerdy fact: we actually have the same birthday.
Wow.
Mhm.
Because I love him. I loved when he did, well, one of my favorite movies is Frankenhooker
Like,
because it's just so ridiculous that I love it. Even the invention of the super crack. I'm just like, I just love that movie. Mr. Den Hart has said the red paint blood from the 70s was classic. I
yeah,
recently read that became a thing because the horror movies were getting censored too much. And they figured that when they made the blood look excessively fake, that the censors wouldn't come down as hard on them.
I read that somewhere. I remember reading that in the trivia, like on IMDb somewhere. I'm trying to
Mhm.
remember which movie they definitely did that. Yeah, for sure.
And Francis says, I watched a wild Bigfoot movie from the 70s a couple days ago. Night of the Demon actually plays out like a slasher flick. Bigfoot rips a guy's dick off at one point, too. Some of the worst fake blood. I have to find that. Night of the Demon?
I love how we find these fucking
Yes.
obscure, weird ass movies. Like I love
Hmm.
it. Like just I feel at home. That's crazy.
That would go well with Prophecy, which is about this mutant bear in the woods, also from the 70s. And it's similar thing. You know what I should Usually I try to watch trailers on here, but every time I'm going back and forth whether I should try to do it or not, whether I'm going to ding for copyright, because the trailer I want to watch is kind of old. So I'm thinking, well, maybe you might get away with it because the movie's so old, but I don't know. Mr. Jans, I think the Billy Jack movie, The Blood Was Orange. I don't think I saw Billy Jack. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Um, we were supposed to be speaking about slashers. We didn't even get around to a whole lot of slashers. You have
It's all good.
a
Yeah.
favorite slasher franchise?
Damn. 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 Favorite slasher franchise. To me, it's between say the three greats though. It's like a battle royale between Michael, Freddy, and Jason. You know, it's like I'm trying to think who had the more brutal kills, who felt more menacing, you know, and
That's a hard one because they each were menacing in their own right when they first were
yeah,
introduced.
yeah, exactly. Because Freddy, the thing that he had like the up on was the dreams. Like he fucks with you in your dreams. So that's terrifying. Like you can't go to sleep, you know, and that's I might edge it to Freddy. And I feel like Freddy is just a despicable character. He's a scumbag at heart too. So it's like, okay, you got the scumbag guy murking these people in their dreams. So I always felt more freaked out towards Freddy growing up. Jason always, as weird as this sounds, it kind of I always sympathize with Jason because he was the little boy that drowned in the lake and stuff, you know, and I always kind of sympathize with him a bit. And it didn't feel like him murking everybody at the camps and everything. It was more fun for me. So Jason never really scared me as a kid. I was just like, oh, this is kind of fun. But Michael was a little more scarier for me than Jason, but that's my opinion. Just because the way Michael would stalk, especially the first film. The first film's nowhere near the more brutal or more gory film, but the first film's very creepy how he's stalking Laurie and how he's like he has that creeper factor. So it just has that unsettling feeling like, yeah, no matter where you go, he's just boom, he's right there. You know, and especially when I remember I was freaked out as a kid at the end when you see him and he's off of the ground. When you're like, whoa, he shot him out the fucking window and then he's off of the ground. So that left as a kid, that freaked me out. Even just that idea, I was like, dude, what is this fucking guy? You know? So Jason just felt like, yeah.
Let me just shout the chat real quick and I'll go back into it. Rainbow Fright is in the house. She says, happy Friday, everyone. Hey, internet. Eric here says, good afternoon, everyone. Great job on your one-on-one interview with the Night Watch Zone, Lady Shasha. Thank you so much, Eric. I hope that I do as well in this one with Fro Thizzle. By the way, check out his channel. We, if you're just joining us, we talked about his experience in movies. We talked about his music experience because he's still currently on traveling on tour. I'm going to call it on tour. Whether you call it on tour or not, I'm calling it on tour. Because if you're traveling and you're doing music, you're on tour. I got to check out the interview. And then Tony Man says, no worries, Lady Shasha. There's always room for a sequel with Fro. Yes.
Oh, I'd love to.
You could always come back. You're always welcome here.
I would love to. This setup is awesome. This was absolutely not painstaking at all. This was like it rolled very smooth for me. So
yeah, it's meant to just feel just like a regular, like informal chat. Mikey out there eating people's pet dogs too. He's in the newest iteration. Yeah,
the newer ones. Yeah, but yeah, I could see that. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of the Rob Zombie ones, but I hate to. But number one, there's things I do like about Rob Zombie's number one, but two I despise. I'm not a fan of number two. But that's not to sound like a snob. That's not like
I have a 27-minute video about why the Rob Zombie Halloweens are trash. So I'm just gonna say they're trash to me. Yeah, the hobo killer, no. And then also I feel like I don't think Rob Zombie actually comes from a lower class family because he makes lower class people so cartoonish. It makes me think, were you born or raised rich? Because this is just weird.
I have a theory, not a theory, but I have like a little mini nerdy analysis that I'm going to work on. I'm going to put it out sometime next week. And to me, it's the power of F-bombs in movies, the use of
Yeah.
fuck in movies. And to me, obviously, a Scorsese, a Tarantino, they know how to make those F-bombs flow in the dialogue for the most part. Like they know how to just make it feel natural. To
And
me,
you
when
gotta have the right actor. If you have
I
Joe
agree,
Pesci, if you have Samuel L. Jackson, you can make that flow, but not everybody can make it flow, which we saw when, as much as I love Janet Jackson, I love her to death. When she was in Poetic Justice and she tried to say something dirty, it just didn't come out right. It just didn't come out right. I can't remember what it was she said, but it just came out like we can all tell that this is nothing you'd ever say in real life. Where Samuel L. Jackson, I believe that motherfucker was part of his vocabulary. I think Fro is frozen for a second, but
there we
while
go.
we wait, there we
Yep,
go.
there
We're
we go.
back. Yeah, if you froze for just a second,
Yeah, it was weird. The screen froze for a second.
that it could be my line. I'm not
That could be
sure.
mine too. It could be mine too.
Ad nauseum 11 says, are either of you interested in fan films? If so, I made a Halloween fan film entitled Michael Myers Absolute Evil, and it's here on YouTube. Yes,
I will,
I'll be interested in watching that.
I will
Let
happily
me.
check it out, bro. I will happily check it out. I love fan films. I champion films that are like micro budget or that they're shot on a smaller scale. I actually encourage that. I encourage people to start making films and then just really get, you know, you never know where that's gonna that dopeness is gonna come from. It can be a fucking a micro budget film. We've seen micro budget films that were bangers, that were awesome, and we've seen blockbuster $1 million films that were trash. So it's like there's like a whole in between that, you know. But I would happily watch a fan. I love fan films.
Rainbow Fright says
Rainbow
Rockstar
Fright.
status.
Rainbow Fright, my brother, or homie.
Sister.
Sister. I was thinking that. I
Yeah,
was thinking, honestly, brother.
she's
Sister.
really cool. I have to
Thank you
introduce you
very
to her.
much.
You get along with her really well. She's got a cool channel. She makes really nice content, and she also we live stream together once a month on Guilty Pleasure Gang, which we kind of channel hop. We just take turns on different channels doing that. We watch movies that they're called guilty pleasures because we know they're bad, but we still enjoy them.
I'll shoot a subscribe. I'll shoot a subscribe your way.
Internet Eric says these chill streams are literally that, and that's why I enjoy them. Well, part of the reason why I do it is because I kind of want to just have these conversations that are just, you know, free form conversations about horror and about, you know, other things. So we end up talking about other things. But I never pictured myself to be like a Oprah type interviewer type person. I just want to talk to different people that are doing things. And that's how I approach it. Francis says Rob Zombie grew up with carnival workers. So why does he write them in such a way that's almost demeaning? It does.
I was gonna say that before I froze. Like with my F-bombs is that the one thing I have with Rob Zombie is that I feel that his F-bombs are always unnatural. I felt like it's like just the way he does it, and of course that's just me. But
I have to agree.
The one time that I did kind of I do like Devil's Rejects. If there's a Rob Zombie film I enjoy, it's Devil's Rejects. I do enjoy that film. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. But for the most part, that's just me. It's really rinse and repeat. Every Rob Zombie film I see, every character's dropping the F-bomb every other line, or cunt this, fuck this, that, and you know, and I usually am a sucker for movies like that if it's natural, you know, but of course, and just me saying this isn't an end all on Rob Zombie, you know, but
Eric also says Rob's family literally came from the carnival life. He and his brother helped their parents as carnies. 100% true. But the man is so smart despite what he puts in his movies. Well, most directors have to be smart.
He's very well loved in the music department. His band is White Zombie, so I'm aware of White Zombie, and he's very well loved in the music department. And there are fans of Rob Zombie as a filmmaker. So of course, all my personal opinions, despite all that, it's not to knock the guy or anything, you know. So.
Dan says Samuel L. Jackson was caught by a subway car door as a young man. I'm sure the F-bombs were ringing out. That would be terrifying.
That's probably where they started the origin of the F-bombs or the motherfucker F-bomb for Samuel Jackson.
Tony Man says, wasn't Lights Out a small movie and Megan is missing? I still haven't seen it yet. Lights Out did start as a short film on YouTube. It was a short film on YouTube before it got expanded. So
it's still on YouTube. Yep. Megan is Missing. I haven't seen either. I've just recently heard about Megan is Missing, like the past couple of months or so, and I know what it's about. So it is really dark theme matter, but eventually I'll get to it. Before Megan is Missing.
And then Eric says, Rob's told a story about the carnival life being pretty seedy and lots of crimes happening during those days growing up. So I'm sure that has a lot to do with his trashy characters and their dialogue.
No.
Oh, I was going to say about the scariest as far as slashers.
Yeah.
When I was a child, Freddy was the scariest to me because I was afraid of the commercials. Like, they would play the commercials for Nightmare on Elm Street, and I was afraid of him before even seeing the movie. And then with Michael Myers, I was more afraid of the music. The music in that movie, it would just make you feel so tense. Because I remember hearing the movie before I saw it. Like, my parents were watching in the living room, and I'm in bed, but I could hear the music, and it was scary to me. Jason has never been scary to me. He's just, because I always had that feeling like, hey, if I don't go to camp, he can't get me.
I always felt like Jason was just like, this sounds kind of messed up to say, but like a big homie in a way. I was like, damn, big homie, why you gotta, like, I can see they piss you off, big homie, but damn, I'm like, damn, that's you, bro, like, you crazy. But like, I always had that feeling with Jason, like, just the way, like, I was always rooting for Jason for the most part. For the most part, there's some characters like Dudley that I really love. Wait, Dudley's a Jason character, right? Yeah, Dudley.
I can't remember. The only people that I can remember from Friday the 13th is Tina that had the telekinesis. I think her name was Tina. Yeah, and whoever Ted is, because when the guy turns around, he's like, "Where the hell is the corkscrew, Ted?" No. Whoever Ted is, I remember that. But that's what's funny about those movies. Like, I feel like the victims in Nightmare on Elm Street are way more memorable than the victims in Friday the 13th.
I agree. It's like even some of the bigger names, like let's say a Kevin Bacon in the first one, there's not much to his character. And even and it's fun to see him get killed like that, but in the movie, and even I remember the one notable guy, as much as I don't love the guy as a like, I have very mixed feelings about this guy, but Corey Feldman killed Jason as a kid. So he's probably the most memorable character out of, like, I don't know how many Jason movies there are now, So.
Yes. I think
and Crispin Glover got the corkscrew and then got stabbed.
Yes.
That was fun.
But I don't know his character's name. I just know it's Crispin Glover because I know him from Back to the Future, and there was something else he was in where but I can't remember. It was something more recent, but I can't remember what it was. Francis says Jason's lovable.
Yeah, that's the big.
Well, you get his point because, like, they killed him. They drowned him by not paying attention. So he has more of a revenge thing. Whereas Michael Myers is just evil. Like, he kills people, just kill people. Like, the people that did nothing to him, he's not out for revenge. He just.
And then when you watch the Jason movies, a good amount of them are dumbasses. Like a good amount of them are just like, this is fun to see him get killed. So so it's just like I'm rooting for Jason nearly the entire time.
Are you a fan of gore?
I'm a gore hound. Yeah, I'm an absolute.
What are some of your favorite gory movies?
So I already mentioned it, but just to gush over it just a little bit more before I move on. The Thing 1982 Carpenter has my favorite practical effects of all time. Like those,
and no one has topped him since.
I feel like it's in another world. Like the fucking spider head and when the guy gets his arms eaten off, and even that, like, it's amazing. I'm like, dude, like the work that they put into that is still fantastic. And that movie is it's over 40 years old or around there.
Yes. And the special effects coordinator, I don't want to misspeak, but I think it's Rob Bottin. I could be mistaken, but he had to go into the hospital for exhaustion after that shoot.
Yeah.
Because he was working so hard. And no one has done anything as dynamic yet. Like, all in 40 years, you guys couldn't try to. It's disappointing.
So incredible. And like maybe there might be tiny hints of like stop motion here and there, but I vividly don't remember any CGI or any computer animation. Maybe some stop motion here and there, but even the stop motion looks phenomenal. So it's like it's still to this day, and there's even tiny hints of it. For the most, like 98 or 99% of the thing is all hard work, practical effects.
Yes.
You know, it's like incredible. And for the most part, when we do see great effects nowadays, they're gonna mix it in. So there's gonna be some digital here and there, and then there's gonna be some hints of great practical effects. But you know, nowadays they like to mix it.
There's some movies where they mixed it well, and the one that comes to mind is Blade 2, because the Reapers, they're practically done, but they did use CGI to make their mandibles open and shut, and it's like seamless. Like I thought it was a regular appliance, like how they did with Predator. That was I want to say maybe hydraulic. It might have been a hydraulic appliance to make the Predator's mandibles move, but like. That stuff that's art. It's art and science together when you think about it, especially when they incorporate animatronics.
Yeah, I love animatronic work is awesome. Like as much as I know, like even something as goofy as like a Jaw, well, not even goofy, but like the way that the shark looks in Jaws 1, and the movie's terrifying. But you know, you look like if you were there or something, you would see how animatronic it was. You're like, oh, you know, it's a robot shark. But that works so well for the movie. It's like literally, you don't even like when I watch Jaws, I don't really think of it as an animatronic shark or Bruce. I don't think of
not
Bruce.
at all.
I don't think of Bruce as animatronic. It's like just wow, so well done. So animatronic,
Even when Universal had the ride here in Orlando, it still worked. They had a plastic animatronic shark, but when that shark would pop out of the water, everybody in the boat would scream, like be really start. But I think it's also the timing, because they would time it right when you're taking the little boat cruise and the person is giving their spiel, like their tourism spiel, so that they're directing your attention this way, so that when a shark comes. So it's a lot of it was about timing, but you still were able to scare a bunch of people with a plastic shark in the water. It was a good ride. Unfortunately, they had to get rid of the one in Orlando because people who weren't so bright kept on falling out of the boat because they were standing up, leaning over, trying to take selfies and stuff. And it was very dangerous because the way the animatronic shark comes up, it comes up like this, and then it retracts back down. So if somebody falls off the boat and it retracts back down, it could pull you underneath water into the little compartment that it's inside of. So they had to stop having it here, but it's still open in Universal Studios Japan.
Oh, sick. Oh yeah, I've seen little like POV or like what do you call it footage of how the ride go, like how it works and stuff. It's pretty cool. But yeah, I knew there was a Universal in Japan, but I actually want to see more footage of that in the Japan one.
Screen Stars is here. He also has a great channel. Shout out to him. I think he is also, if I'm not mistaken, Screen Stars, are you also in Ireland? I know you're in the UK, but I might be mistaken. But I think you're up late. Thank you so much for joining us. Anyways, there was something I was going to say about practical effects in slasher films, which I definitely feel like I feel like it's not a slasher film without the practical effects. Like I feel cheated if you try to sell me a slasher film and then there's no payoff, so to speak. And also having a good final girl, which brings me back to the blackening. More people should have died. And I thought the pretty brown skin girl with the short hair, I thought she was going to be the final girl. But, you know, they didn't give me that. But they gave me good comedy.
I do agree that, yeah, like I was a little thrown off to see everybody survive at the end. I was like, oh shit, like I didn't expect that, you know. So.
Yeah. I wanted to see them get picked off one by one, but I still like the concept of the movie, and maybe they'll probably do a sequel. But if you're gonna do slasher, commit to it, and the writing was so good for the movie. I love how certain things were very specifically Black American culture, like not to be confused with Caribbean culture or continental African culture. I'm not saying that in a way to put anything down, because I am half Caribbean. My father's side is Jamaican, so I'm just saying that I can distinctly see the cultural references that are specific to African Americans, which is really, really cool. Let's see. Another question. Tony Man says, does Fro like found footage? That's a great question.
Yeah, I'm half and half, but there are definitely found footage films I really enjoy. That I really enjoy. There's one that I thought was a little bit underrated. Like I can see if you were like, that movie was it was cool, But one I really enjoyed recently was As Above, So Below. And that one's about like a group of like team. I can't remember exactly what the team is, but they go all the way down in the catacombs where the Paris catacombs are, and it's like hell. They're trying to like get out of hell or something. But I actually enjoyed that one.
I gotta watch that one because I saw it when it first came out, which I don't know, maybe it was a 2014, 2015, something like that. I need to rewatch it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't watch the clearest copy. So, yeah. So now that it's available everywhere, I should be able to watch it. Have you seen the Borderlands, or it's also called Final Prayer?
No, Borderlands. I know what you're talking about, but I never saw it. I
That
know
one-
the cover.
that-
The cover's like a creepy. What is it? A pentagram or something like that?
No,
Or
it looks like a cross, like a building that's a cross,
yeah,
like a church that's a cross. It's kind of like the poster art is not the best, but it's a much better movie than what the poster art would indicate. It's about these two guys that go to investigate a haunted church, and it's found footage, but I like that it's not, superbly shaky cam, because that kind of can be irritating. The way they shot it was they had some steady cams inside the cottage that they're staying, kind of like how Paranormal Activity has that steady cam. So they would do that occasionally, and then they would also have these head mount cameras for when they went into the church, and I thought it worked pretty well. The opposite of that, there was a movie I saw recently. What was the name? It was the Outwaters. It was so bad. You ever watch a movie that's so bad you just want to find who made it and go and smack them? Because the Outwaters, oh my god, it's supposed to be a found footage, and it starts out normally like other found footage, but then as the movie goes on, you see less and less and less till it looks like they're shining a flashlight through a pinhole, and it's just horrible. It's like, why would you make your movie so that people can't see it? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
It made Skinamarink look like a cinematographer, a cinematographer like Marvel. And Skinamarink didn't do all that much with the camera either, but it was more than what they did in Outwaters.
That's crazy. Because I wasn't a big fan of Skinamarink, so that's crazy.
Yeah,
if Outwaters is worse than that one, you're like, damn, that must be cool. Yeah, that must be bad.
I had to try twice to finish Skinamarink because the first time I turned it off after the first 20 minutes. And then my sister was like, hey, what was that movie, Skinamarink? I want to watch that. And I was like, you sure? It's going to be really boring. You're going to look at like door frames for a long time.
Exactly. That's how I felt. That's exactly how I felt watching it. I was like, okay, I'm looking at the ceiling. I'm looking at the door. Okay. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Like that would have worked as a short, but not a full movie. Like I feel like for a full movie, that's not cool. And then the other, I would say the third worst probably found footage I saw was it had a great trailer, and then the movie was terrible. The Gallows.
Oh, I know.
Gallows had such a great trailer.
I never saw it, but I know what you're talking. Yeah, I know what you're talking about with that one. Because that one came out, what, like 20, I'm going to say 15, 16, 17?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Around there, yeah.
Have you seen the Blair Witch Project?
I'm not a big fan, me personally. And Blair Witch is a very mixed one. People either love it or they hate it. And I appreciate how they made it and the tiny pennies that they made it with, because that movie's like one of the most successful films of all time. They made it with pennies and then went on to make nearly like 200 million or something like that. So I appreciate that. Was a game changer for like independent films for sure. Or I wouldn't say independent, but like starting off as like micro budget films. That was one of the game changers. And just as a whole, I'm not a big fan because from my viewing, I can see how people are unsettled by it because you don't know where this thing is or you don't know if it's even there. And them going crazy and shouting the whole movie can make people unsettled and make them like on edge. But for me, I didn't care for the characters and I thought it was just yelling the whole movie. I was like,
it is.
It's like they're just running through the woods and yelling, and I was just like, I'm not a big fan. But I can see why people do enjoy it too. That's one of those movies where I'm like, I try not to knock it because, or I try not to go too hard on it because I can see the it factor or why people enjoy it. But I just personally never been a huge fan of it.
Well, the way that I think about it, I don't think that younger people would enjoy it as much as my generation enjoyed it because of the way that it's being delivered. Like when you guys are watching it, you're just watching a movie. You've seen a lot of found footage already, so it's kind of, even though it created a lot of the tropes that were copied, it's still going to feel tropey to you because you've seen this all over again, and over and over and over again, I should say. But I think why people my generation look at it through nostalgia goggles is because of the delivery system. At that time, this is pre-social media. So we had chat rooms and we had message boards, that's what we had back then, which is kind of like how Reddit. If you look at Reddit, that's what we had. We had stuff like that, just different message boards like that. And what would pop up is like there were these articles that pop up talking about the Burkittsville witch, and then months later, like we would share these articles and say, "Hey, you hear about this Burkittsville witch?" And we'd share it, and it became kind of like an urban legend. Like 6 months later, all these wanted posters were showing, not wanted, missing posters, that these 3 people are missing. So what they really did is they created the first viral story. And so then when they introduced the movie and said, "Oh, this is the movie of those people that went missing," that's what made it such a frenzy where everybody was like, "Wow, those are people we were reading about online and having these theories about online." So it became this whole thing. And without that, I don't think it works as well. It still has some creepy moments, but it doesn't work as well when you don't have that lead up. Now, they could do something like that today. Like, that's what I would do. I would start little things. I would have somebody do a TikTok about some urban legend that doesn't exist with the creepy music behind it, and then start planting different articles around and let it go on social media and then release a movie. I think it could work again if they cover their tracks well enough to not be Googled. You have to be real careful because now you can Google everything. So you have to be really careful if you were to do that again. But they should try. They should try. It inadvertently happened when Megan is Missing, which you said.
Right.
It's about,
that's the thing, that those two, like, I would even put The Fourth Kind in the same category.
Yes, that movie creeped me out.
Yeah, because the marketing was what worked so well for those films, because they were making it seem like it was real. They were making it seem like they were real stories and such. So that's what worked so well for those films. And I remember I wasn't old enough to remember the marketing for Blair Witch Project. I was only 3 or 4 years old.
Oh yeah. That's why I recounted the whole thing, because I know if you're not at least 35, you're not going to remember the marketing for
the experience. Because I've heard of that, of how people were really freaked out, even like the build up to the film being released. They were really on edge, like, yo, this movie's like, they really thought it was a real experience or a real story. So I was old enough to see that with Fourth Kind. Like with Fourth Kind, people really thought it was a real fucking movie or a real story. They were like, yo, and even before the movie starts, you have Mila Jovovich like, this is a true story, blah 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 blah, and you come to find out, you're like, this wasn't even fucking real. But I do enjoy Fourth Kind, because I think that one's a very creepy movie. Like some scenes really make me unsettled, and like the alien or the demon alien or whatever it calls itself, it gives me goosebumps. Yeah, that one's a really creepy one.
And with Megan is Missing, what happened with that is it's a regular theatrically released found footage movie. At least I think it's theatrical. I don't think it went direct to video, but it came out, let me think, maybe 2009, 2010-ish. And
about right,
a few years ago, the director uploaded the whole thing to YouTube. And so last year, a bunch of younger people that were talking about it on TikTok, that they had found this movie. Well, they at first didn't refer to it as a movie. They found this video on YouTube, and they didn't know it was a found footage movie. So they think this is just a YouTube video of this creepy stuff happening. And they were all over TikTok being freaked out, talking about Megan is Missing, and they're trying to find her and not realizing that it was just a movie. The director had to come out and make a TikTok video addressing everyone, saying, this is a film. This is not real found footage. It's uploaded to YouTube because we just wanted to upload it to YouTube. Do not watch it if you're under a certain age, or if you don't have your parents' permission,
or if you're traumatized by certain like trigger warnings or stuff. I know when Megan they were talking about it, there was a lot of like Twitter people like, oh, tons of trigger warnings, etc. But there
we go.
Kindred, what up, bro? That's my guy. Kindred Nerds United. I want to shout him out. That's my dude.
Hey, Kindred. He says, hello, Fro and others. How's it going? And then Mr. Dan says, is that a Bigfoot film, Tony? That must be from
What
something
is it?
earlier.
Exist? I feel
Oh,
like I
yeah,
know.
exists.
I feel
Yeah,
like I know
exists
that.
is a
2014. Yeah, Bigfoot.
yeah, somewhere around that time. Exists, and then there was another one that came out around the same time as Exist. They were both Bigfoot movies. Yeah, I can't find that post.
Oh, so Exist. That's the same director as Blair Witch Project.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Same director.
Oh, it's Exists. Yeah, he wrote Exists is a great found footage movie, and I didn't notice this. That Mr. Dan asked if you are a Giallo fan.
Yeah, so that's like, would you categorize like Deep Red or movies like
Mhm.
that under that? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I love that type of stuff.
Yes, that's the other one, Willow Creek. Willow Creek and Exist
I've heard
came out
about it.
around the same time, and they're both about Bigfoot or Sasquatches.
Is Willow Creek any good? Because it's on my list. It's on my watch list. I just never got to it.
I
Isn't it?
don't remember whether I saw it or not. I think I saw Exists, but I don't think
Oh,
I
that's
saw
why
Willow Creek.
Bobcat. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Bobcat Goldthwait, Bobcat
Mhm.
directed the Willow Creek one. Yeah, that's why I put it
Mhm.
on my list. I was interested in what Bobcat would do with it.
Yeah, I like seeing when people come from a comedy background and do horror because I think both things rely a lot on timing, having the right timing.
Yeah.
Are there any well, Mr. Dan says Willow Creek was good.
Nice. I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
Are there any horror TV shows that you're into?
Damn. As of right now,
Or even in the past?
damn. I gotta get my horror show game up. Are there any standouts that like a top five, or not even a top five, just like five dope ones that you would recommend?
I like What We Do in the Shadows. That one it
Or is that the
whether you
vampire one?
yeah, it depends
Okay,
on whether you like the movie. If you like the movie, you're probably going to like the show because it basically just a continuation of the movie.
gotcha.
But if you're not so much into the movie, then you might not be into the show. I thought that the Last of Us series on HBO that wasn't bad.
I,
Um,
I had little gripes with it, but I thought it was pretty well done for the most part, and I thought Pedro Pascal did a good job, and I thought the acting was good, and I just wanted. I felt like I wanted a little bit more of the clickers, a little bit more of
yes,
the infected. Yeah, I wanted a little bit more of that, but that was just me. Yeah, I think it was shot well, looked nice. It was a good show.
there was a show I used to watch, but I never finished the final seasons because I don't think I have access to that channel. But it was called The Strain. It started off
Oh, I
really
know what
good
you're
though.
talking about. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was. I think that was on FX.
yeah.
I didn't see it, but I saw I remember the commercials. I remember the
Mhm.
ads for it.
Yeah, and let me think what else was pretty good of recent years. I like Lovecraft Country for what it was,
Oh,
especially how it kept changing genres. Like sometimes it'd be adventure, sometimes it would be sci-fi. I kind of like that about it. I always loved Black Mirror. Like there's some really
yeah, there's
standout
some good.
episodes.
Yeah, there's some dope episodes in Black Mirror. I know the one that freaked me out was one of the more popular ones where he's in like the simulation, and then like his
Hmm.
his nightmares are like popping out in real life.
Yes.
That one's a pretty. I like the idea of that. It was always a pretty cool one.
Hmm.
But I didn't check out the new season that's just coming out now, so I got to check it out.
The new season leans more into horror. Except for the first episode is like strictly sci-fi comedy, and then it goes more into the direction of horror, which I like. I wonder why well, maybe they scared their own selves with the sci-fi because certain things were coming to pass, like the robot dogs. Those are walking around New York now, and I'm like, wow. I didn't think they would. I knew they would probably use them in the military, but I didn't think they'd be on the street that fast. Um, Francis says, "What We Do in the Shadows new season starts soon." Yes, it does. Tony Man says, "I had to stop writing to post this. Exist is better than Willow Creek, but I enjoyed the both of them. Has anyone watched Troll Hunter? I'll listen to and hear responses."
I know it's the same thing. I know what the movie is. I just never got to check it out. But if if
Mhm.
if that one's dope too, I'll add all three to my list. I'll check out. I'll knock them out in like a 2-day span. Exist, Willow Creek, and Troll Hunter. I'll knock
Yeah,
them out.
Troll Hunter is also found footage.
I think that one's PG-13. Troll Hunter. I could be wrong, but I
It
feel
could be, but I don't think it necessarily needed to be R because it's more of a adventure chase
yeah, the
type of thing.
students. Yeah, the
Yeah,
students investigate bear killings, but learn that. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I heard about this one. I got it. I'm gonna add it to my list. I'll check
yeah.
it
I
out.
think it's is it Norwegian or Swedish, something like that.
Oh, okay. Same guy who did that did Autopsy of Jane Doe. I saw that
Mhm.
one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I saw that
Troll
one.
Hun- Francis says Troll Hunter was fantastic.
Dope, dope.
Very well done. I have
I'll
to
add it.
agree.
I'll check it out in the next couple of days.
What would you call a horror movie that um you think should get more credit than what it gets?
I'll name two, like a two-part one, but
Okay.
the first one, even though it's pretty loved, it's more of a cult following. Tales from the Hood.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tales from the Hood is not only pretty. Tales from the Hood has its little goofy moments here and there, but it's actually a pretty freaky movie when you think about it. It's a pretty creepy film, especially when we get towards like the psychological torture of what one of the gang members was going through in like the
Yes.
third story. That part's pretty freaky. And not only that, I think Tales from the Hood is just one of those rare, fantastic blends where it feels like you got not only the black horror side, but it felt like a huge commentary on how things were crazy at the time, and like I think Tales from the Hood deserves more credit as far as being talked on, like on all sides. Like if you want to talk on a horror film scale, it's a pretty creepy movie. You want to talk on like the commentary and all the the thought process behind it. I think that one's, despite how loved that one is, it still feels strangely underrated for me. You know.
I have to agree. Todd Martin says I think Cube is vastly underrated.
Yeah, Cube and Cube. Once in a while you'll hear somebody put Cube on their list, but Cube is dope.
There's actually a Japanese remake of Cube that is either just now came out or comes out this summer.
Oh shit!
Tony says the dog one Black Mirror is called Metalhead, and it's my enjoyment. It's an enjoyment of mine. That's what
Yeah,
it means.
yeah.
Yeah. And what's the reverse of that? What's a horror movie that a lot of people love and you don't get why?
Ooh.
Or you could name several of them.
Yeah, I can name a couple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in love with this Ari Aster guy. I'm not. I don't love her. I didn't love Hereditary. I didn't love Midsummer. I didn't love Beau is Afraid. Even though Beau is Afraid leans more on like a multi-genre kind of film. There were things like, and again, Hereditary had some cool ideas. Like the acting, I thought was great. I was okay.
Yeah.
The acting's really good, but I feel like Ari Aster is just like I think he's like the most overrated director right now. But that's just me though, So I would say Hereditary, yeah, because that one, people love that movie, and I can kind of see why, but I'm just not a big fan. There's so many though. I know I'm blanking out, like where I'm just like I didn't love it as much as everybody did. I wouldn't really classify this one as horror, but a recent one that a good amount of people love that I wasn't a big fan of was Nope. Was the sci-fi one, and it's not really a horror film. I wouldn't call it, but
No,
there
I
was
think
one.
it suffered from them not advertising it properly. Like they kept showing the scene in the trailers from the barn, which ended up not being what it was presented as in the trailer. And I think so many people went in expecting it to be horror. You're gonna naturally be disappointed when it's not. So it really should have been advertised as an adventure movie, as that's what it was.
Yeah, I felt, yeah, definitely. It did, like, and I think that was one of my bigger disappointments too, is that I was going in like a horror kind of sci-fi feel.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I was gonna get, and I didn't really get it. I was like, But same thing I felt. Acting was pretty solid, but I wasn't a big fan of the movie. But
Todd Martin says Scream. And I'm like, I have to agree a little bit. I love Scream, but I don't find it as iconic as other people find it. And the reason is because a lot of people say, oh, it's the first self-referential slasher. It was not. It was Student Bodies.
yeah,
Student Bodies from either 1981 or 82 was the first one.
definitely. And that's the thing is like I try to be very careful. But like this movie was the first because I'm like more than likely it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as much as I enjoy the Scream films, I do agree. I can see people feel that they're overrated because you know, it felt pretty special as a kid growing up, but like now since there's like 6 of them, it kind of it just when I rewatched the first one now, it kind of lost that little special quality to it for me. So I can definitely see that. As much as I still enjoy the first 2, like really enjoy, they did lose that special quality. I can see that.
And I have an unpopular opinion. Oh, go ahead.
People have Scream as like Wes Craven's favorite film, and I'm like, damn, bro, like,
I'm like, have you seen Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nightmare on Elm Street,
Are you
like,
kidding me?
dude, Craven has fucking bangers, dude. Like,
yeah.
But I think there's a crowd of people who think Craven only did Scream films, you know, and it's just like, dude, like, no, Craven was pretty versatile, you know.
Another unpopular opinion. While I love Art the Clown, I think the Terrifier movies keep failing.
Yeah,
I love the gore, but there's something missing. The gore is good. The horror character, Art the Clown has the makings of the next horror icon, but the writing, like, number one, I don't like his victims. Like, they're just not.
Yeah,
you have to. I feel like you got to have a good final girl. Yeah. In order for him to like really come out. And the last one, I don't know what the thing was in the sword and the water and what is this?
Too much. Yeah, it was too much for me. Yeah, I agree. It was too much for me when I was watching 2. I was just like, one dude, this movie did not have to be 2 hours and 20 minutes.
No, not at all.
This movie could have easily been an hour and 45 and I would have been fine with it. But not only that, that's exactly how I felt with the Terrifier films. I'm like, I'm a gore hound, so I love my gore in my films, but when that's literally it, like that's it. Like none of it. There's not 1 or 2 characters that I really rooted for, I really cared for. So you're just seeing like I wouldn't say nobodies, but just like big question marks getting brutally slashed. Yeah. You know, that's all it is. It's just like you don't really care for any of the characters. At least I'm happy you agree with that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Dan says the same thing. Terrifier 2 too long.
Yeah, I felt it. I felt it in the theater. I was like, dude, I was literally checking. I was like, dude, like you could have cut like fucking 5 scenes out of this movie.
It easily could have been 77 minutes. Really. It easily could have been 77 minutes and I would have had a better time. Just we get to the gore faster and I would have enjoyed that. But you want to sit and then the characters, like I think in the second one he tried to develop a little bit better, like with the whole family dynamic thing, but then they're just not likable. Like I don't care.
Exactly.
You gotta make them somewhat likable.
Yeah, and to me, I think we live in that time now where let's make our movie 3 hours long just to do it. Let's make a fucking movie 3. And are there 3-hour movies I enjoy? Absolutely. Malcolm X. I was on the rare side that enjoyed Irishman. You know, I was on the rare side. A lot of people were trashing Irishman. I heavily enjoyed that film. So once in a while, there are 3-hour movies that are like, that are bangers, that are really, really good, really awesome. But we live in that time now where every movie has to be 3 hours, like 2 hours and 20, 2 hours and 30, 40. It's just a thing right now. And I'm like, dude.
They think that they're really auteurs if they just stretch something to 3 hours. There was a movie I saw on Tubi. It was advertised. It was called Pistol Wave in New Haven. And I wanted to watch it because I'm from Connecticut and we have like our cities have different nicknames. Like Hartford is usually called the Heartbeat or Hateford, depending on how I see it. Waterbury is Dirty Water. New Haven is either Money Craving New Haven or Gun Waving New Haven. And so this movie's called Pistol Waving New Haven. So I was like, oh, let me check it out. No, 3 hours. I'm sorry, what? 3 hours? No, not for a Tubi original.
Crazy, get away from me with it. It's just the thing right now. It's literally the thing right now. It's let's make the runtime long as shit. And like I would say 6 or maybe 7 times out of 10, I'm like, dude, you could have cut 40, 30 minutes out of this fucking movie. You could feel it. You're like, dude, you're like, dude, if you cut this scene out, would there be a big difference? Not really. You know, that something I've noticed.
I think they're thinking because we're willing to binge watch TV programs that they think, oh, it's the same thing. If they'll watch 4 hours of a TV program, it's not the same though. I don't know how to describe it. It's not the same, but it's not the same. Oh, speaking of binging, have you heard of this show called I'm a Virgo?
Why does that sound familiar? What type of show is it? Is it like a
It's
drama or?
it's like a dramedy. And it's written and directed by Boots Riley.
Okay, he did the Sorry to Bother You movie.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's about this giant young man. He's like they show him kind of growing up in the first episode, but he's for the majority of the show he's 19 years old. And it's about his journey to being a superhero actually.
Nice. Well,
But in the,
I'm a Virgo myself, so I'll check it out.
oh, same. I'm a Virgo. But yeah, and Boots Riley has been amazing. Well, from what I've seen of his work so far has been amazing. And his music, it's interesting to see him go from being with the Coup to I forgot the rock band, but I remember the song 100 Little Curses. I don't know if you heard that song. It's let me look up what the name of his rock band was, because he was with the Coup as a rapper, and then as a rocker he was still, I would say he was still rapping, but it was kind of like how Linkin Park has like a rapper on it. I guess they call it new metal. Oh, his rock band is called Street Sweeper Social Club.
Nice.
I
I'll
have to
check it
send
out.
that to you. You have to send you that video. It's called 100 Little Curses. And then I'll see if I can find something from the Coup. I'll just send you also. I think that might have been early 90s. But to see him like really transcend music and then also doing directing, like it's beautiful. Let me see the comments here. The
My
original
bad,
Tales
guys.
from the Crypt.
I'm still here, guys. I'm just
Oh no.
yeah.
Oh, it's no problem. We do this all the time. When you stream a lot, you're used to this. Like we do this all the time. The original Tales from the Crypt was like 88 minutes long and had 5 great stories and a great wraparound segment. Yeah,
Fact.
you're talking about the Tales from the Crypt from the 70s, right? That was a really good one of anthologies. And there's what's the one I was watching not too long ago? It was with Vincent Price. Ah, I'm drawing a blank.
I feel you, Francis. I feel you, dude. To me, it has to be a really good fucking 3-hour movie. Like for me, like to me, those are like Green Mile. You know, yeah, like Malcolm X. Like to me, those are phenomenal. Like just awesome 3-hour movies. That sometimes it depends on how good the movie is. Like a Goodfellas, Casino. They're so good, in my opinion, that they fly by. You're like, dude, you're hanging out with these characters, and it's just like, dude, I'm in this world. And then it's like, dude, I've seen 3-hour movies that felt like 80 minutes. And I've seen 80-minute movies that felt like 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. You know, I'm like, I saw a movie called Antlers recently, and it was like 1 hour and 38 minutes.
It
And
felt
then,
longer.
oh my God, dude, in the theater, it felt like 4 hours watching that movie. And I'm like, dude, and I felt the same way. I'm like, I've seen 3-hour movies that felt way shorter than this. So it's weird. I felt like, I don't know, I've always felt like that kind of growing up, though, you know?
I found the name of that anthology. It's called From a Whisper to a Scream.
Nice.
Tony Man says, did Fro like the sadness? And does he have the Dirty 30 from the rap group Crew? Or is that what LS is talking about? No, I'm talking not Crew. It's called the Coup. Let me see if how to spell it.
Tony was the sadness, the gory one, the Asian gory flick that came out recently, the infected one where people are going.
Yeah, that one was from.
Is it Indonesia?
No, it's
no, it isn't. It isn't.
It's not mainland China. It's Taiwan. It was from Taiwan.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there you go. I enjoyed it. There were some things that were a little too like. I love gore, so I'm a gore hound. I definitely got my fix with the sadness, but I did feel like it was missing a little bit, in my opinion. I'm like, I don't know what's missing here, and then I remember the ending being pretty mean. I was like, damn, the ending's really fucking mean. But I enjoyed the kills, definitely. Like the subway scene where the creepy the guy in the suit that's following the main characters the whole movie. He was a really, really creepy villain, or a creepy, like, the main guy going after him. I thought he did a good job. And that subway scene where he, like, massacres those, that was a dope scene. So I did like the sadness.
I like that a lot too. No, it was called. Let me see. Here's one of the album covers for the Coupe.
Nice. Oh, is that Boots on the right bottom?
I think so. And then there's another one. Let me pull up this other album cover. That's the Coupe. Was his rap group.
I'll check him out. Yeah, you're putting me on. I knew he was an MC first, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Yeah.
I read that on his trivia somewhere on IMDb years ago when, like, Sorry to Bother You was coming out, and I remember seeing that film, and then, like, I knew he did more stuff after that, but I got to follow his career a little bit more.
Yeah, and then the rock group was the Street Sweeper Crew. I think or was it Club? Street Sweeper. Let me see. Social Club. It's the Street Sweeper Social Club, which is interesting because the song 100 Little Curses is probably the most capitalist song, and I love it. Let's see here. Yes, the original movie from the 70s. Yeah.
Crip, yeah. Tales from the Crypt, yep.
Haha, yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that's sometimes it be like that, man.
Oh, I just noticed the time. I'm gonna wrap it up. I would stay and talk for another hour, but
no, you're good. We'll do part 2, part 3, part 4.
Yes.
I'm down.
And definitely when I like to have more people on too, because I got to have you come back on because I got to introduce some people because we are starting to have a really good group of people in the horror community, especially on Instagram. Which is surprising to me because I thought Instagram was about dead, like it was done, but it's picked back up in the horror specter. But I think also because a lot of horror guys are on there, like a lot of the practical effects dudes, they have Instagram pages, which makes sense because you want to show your work that you're working on. So, and a lot of the cons, you find out about the cons on Instagram too.
Yo, Mr. Dan, thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. And I'm gonna check your stuff out too. I'll hit a subscribe on your channel. I'll subscribe to your channel. Check out your content, bro.
Definitely. Let me put Fro's channel back up on the screen so you guys can see where to subscribe, especially if you're watching this on the replay. Still leave a comment because we will come back and we'll answer the comments and all that. Subscribe to Fro. You see on the scroller at the bottom there is that at Fro Thizzle Reviews on YouTube, on IG, and TikTok, and at Real Fro Thizzle on Twitter. And also, let me write in the comments your other channel name that has your music on it, because it's important for people to see that too. Is that what's your other channel name?
So it's it's Afro with the dashes.
Okay, Afro with a dash, and then just dashes?
Yeah.
How many dashes?
A dash, F dash, R dash.
Oh, okay. In between each letter is what you mean. Okay, I misunderstood.
Or Afro Rapper. I think if you YouTube Afro Rapper, I pop up too. So.
Or Afro on YouTube. I'll put that in the chat.
Motion detected at the front door.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Shasha. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
And you guys know I always have to talk about the Cabin in the Woods Film Festival in August that me and Crystal are working on. The tickets go on sale on July 15th, I believe. It could be the 14th, but I think it might be the 15th. So stay tuned for that. I will be giving more information. We've got all our submissions in, so we're happy about that. We're working on our swag bags for the VIPs, and then also a few little swag treats for everybody who isn't a VIP as well. But keep in mind, this is a first-year festival, so expect first-year things. We're gonna try to do our best though, but hopefully you guys will come through. By the way, the festival is in Seattle, Washington, but it's also online. So if you're unable to come in person, you can come chill online.
Nice.
You'll be able to vote on the movies. You'll be able to review the movies afterwards. There will also be some games and prizes, trivia games. And also, Crystal's telling me about trying to make it a virtual escape room that you can join a team and try to get out of a virtual escape room if you're viewing the festival online. So that sounds really, really exciting.
Yeah, that's dope.
I'm going to have to just do my intro kind of janky because your girl accidentally, this is the ADHD stuff that I do. I accidentally deleted my outro video. So see if I have a backup. I probably have a copy on my hard drive, on my portable hard drive, or in my Google Cloud or whatever. But for now, I'm just gonna have to do like an old janky outro. Francis says, "Nice meeting you, Fro.
Nice
You all have
meeting
a good weekend."
Francis, my
Same thing
dude.
to y'all. I'm signing off. If you guys are watching, like I said, if you're watching this on the replay, make sure that you go and subscribe to Fro's channel. Follow him on social media because he's doing a lot of big things. Watch the if you're catching this at the end, you do want to go back and rewind it because we talked a lot about not only the films that Fro likes to watch, but also the films that he has been in. So check that out. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye.
Peace, y'all. Peace.